All right, so the long-awaited patch 5.0 is finally released, and it is called the Obelisk update because we got a new operation called the Obelisk, and we also got a plethora of other things I was not expecting, including a rework to a lot of the melee systems, which is amazing. And then we also got a lot of notable other changes and things to look forward in the future. So what I wanted to do in this video is I wanted to read through the patch notes in terms of what I thought was significant, and then I'm going to go into game and show you some of the more significant things. So anyways, let's get into it. Like I said at the top, we did get a new operation called Obelisk, and it states that to reach the console control of the Obelisk, you'll need to make it through a tomb plunged into darkness. So essentially, this mission is going to be a chaos-centered mission, and with that, we are getting a new Majoris enemy. So this new Majoris enemy is called the Tanzagor Enlightened, and essentially this is a ranged melee hybrid unit that is apparently extremely aggressive. From the footage we got in the trailer, it looks freaking insane. It's absolutely one of the most aggressive enemies we've gotten so far in the game. We also got a host of new cosmetics, and they're all centered around the Dark Angel theme. We got a new Bulwark skin. We also got some new skins for the Auto Bolt Rifle, the Plasma Pistol, the Power Sword, and the Bulwark Storm Shield. And now you can change the lenses on your characters, which is pretty cool because I was getting tired of just the red and green options, because the green option actually looks pretty cool on some, but it's nice that we can actually change these lenses to match more of our theme, which is really cool. So the meat and bones of the patch notes are centered around these changes to melee combat, which is much needed. So normal melee damage has been increased across the board, so all the melee weapons are going to do a lot more damage now, which is great. Block, balance, and fencing options have been adjusted, and more specifically, blocking has been adjusted the most, and we'll get more into that in a moment. The idea is that fencing is good for a limited number of enemies, balanced is good versus crowds, and blocking will become the new damage dealer for weapons. Like I just mentioned, blocking option has been completely changed from the ground up. They now added a perfect block system as well as the adrenaline surge system. One thing to note here is that your wrist will turn yellow, signifying that you're gaining stacks of adrenaline surge. So basically how it works is that perfectly timed blocks grant you up to 3 stacks of adrenaline surge, which are consumed upon your next melee attack after gaining whatever stacks you gain in that moment. And what this does is this increases your melee damage, staggers enemies, deals a large AoE effect, and also recharges 1 segment of armor. So fencing got one small change where the perfectly parry AoE stagger radius has been slightly reduced. So as for balance, perfect parry AoE stagger radius has been greatly increased. Mastercrafted version now does increase 10% damage, so does Artificer, and so does the Relic version. They all do 10% more damage. Blocking also got some other adjustments to its damage, so the Mastercrafted, the Artificer, and the Relic version all got 20% increases respectively. They made one small adjustment to the stomp that you can do with the heavy when you're unarmed, basically. They made it to where the stomp can be chained indefinitely, and this is actually pretty interesting. I can't wait to test how this works. They did make some small tweaks to firearms in this patch, and they stated that they are going to make some additional tweaks to firearms in patch 6, but the major changes for firearms are going to come in patch 7. So we got 2 changes to weapons for this particular patch. The Neo Volkite pistol had its damage increased from 1 to 1.5 against the following enemies: Devouring Tyranid Warriors, Barb Strangler Tyranid Warriors, Venom Cannon Tyranid Warriors, Rubic Marines, Flamer Rubic Marines, and Zoanthropes. The Bolt Carbine had its max ammo increased by 1 magazine. The big thing that they're wanting to change in patch 7 is they wanted to tweak the perk system for the weapons, because they agree that they're not as exciting and as effective as the perks that we get on the characters. So they want to rework all of those perks to make them more viable for each weapon. The biggest point of focus for the developers right now is to figure out how to bring down and bring under control the grenade launcher, because they admit that it's kind of out of control with how strong it is, because it is by far the strongest weapon in the game, and they acknowledge that the following things are actually bugs and not intended to work this way. They admitted that the full magazine on Majoris kills you get from Emperor's Vengeance is actually a bug. It's not supposed to actually happen this way. They noted that the Artificer and the Relic versions of the weapon are not intended to give you 4 times more damage with the grenade launcher. And lastly, they said that there is a bug with the OPEX scan that results in crazy amount of damage with the grenade launcher specifically. So the thing that they talked about in here, which I'm really glad that they do, is they're not going to go full nuclear and destroy this weapon, because that would in turn destroy the tactical class. So what they're going to do instead is they're going to really think thoughtfully on this and take their time. This is a really good thing that I'm glad they're doing, because they didn't go full nuclear like Helldivers did with a lot of their weapons, and they're, you know, nerfing and whatnot. So there is going to be some changes to it. I don't know what they are, From what I understand, I could imagine there's going to be some changes to how many you get per kill with the Emperor's Vengeance. Maybe they may even make it to where there's a longer cooldown on Emperor's Vengeance. I don't know. I mean, it seems like they're going to really target that more specifically. In terms of the damage, I don't know. I mean, it's going to come down a little bit. Who knows how much, but we're definitely going to see some sort of nerf to it in the future. The one thing I'm actually extremely excited about, which is something I've been complaining about a lot, is how slow it is to level weapons and how slow it is to level in general, is completely fixed based on this change, and that is called the Extermination Bonus. So how this works is when your team exterminates some level of a map, you're actually going to get a bonus. Now, the way this works is you will be given the following grades, an A, B, or C. So when you get an A, that's 120% extra XP, and that is achieved by killing 80% of all enemies that spawn on the map. A B is 110% extra XP, which is for clearing 60% of all enemies that appear on the map. And then a C is 100% extra XP, and that is for killing less than 60% of the map. So the idea is to incentivize map clearing, so you're going to clear as much as possible. That's how you gain the maximum extermination bonus. However, if you don't want to do that and you still want to go at the mission as fast as possible, you will still get 100% extra XP. And that's really, really good in my opinion. So if you have those moments where you don't want to necessarily go for it, fine. But this is nice because actually we're going to have a good way to gain a lot more XP on top of getting the Gene Seed. Some other notable changes we have are players are now invulnerable to new instances of damage while in knockback animation. I assume what this means is that when you're knocked down, a lot of times you're still getting piled on by other enemies, a lot of times killing you, especially on lethal difficulty. So now you're only going to take the initial damage and you won't take as much damage when you're knocked down, which is nice. The dodge and parry sounds are much more pronounced now. Heavies can now activate their barrier in more player states, such as knockback and various things like that. There is a 10 frame invulnerability now added to the start of a jump pack with the assault class. That's absolutely fantastic. That means you're not going to get one shot by a sniper anymore. Extremist enemies no longer spawn at the start of a match, which is very nice. Throwing throw-ups while shielded attack less frequently, which is great. So that means you only got to deal with one attacking you very hard. And lastly, getting kicked out of a match now awards you XP for the sections you completed, which is very nice. So if you get kicked out for whatever reason, you do get your XP. That's pretty much all the major things that I feel like are actually important from the patch notes. But again, I'm going to link the patch notes down in the description below if you want to go through it for them for yourself. But now let's go in game and I'm actually going to show you some of the cosmetics and different things like that and show you what's going on with the new patch. Alrighty, so here is the Bulwark skin that you get. It's pretty friggin' awesome in my opinion. I like the little dude with the hood and everything like that. I like the little angel wing things. This is a really badass skin. It's very nice. Then here is the new skin for the auto bolt rifle. I like the even little details on the bullets there. That's really, really cool. It's a very cool skin for this weapon as well. Next up is the power sword, and man, this thing is freaking cool. By far my best skin for the power sword to date. Man, this thing is awesome. All right, so when you're under the character editor for the cosmetics, you can actually go in here, and then right here where your helmet is, you will see the ability to change your lenses. Like you can change them to orange, to white, to blue. All really cool. I like this because I can actually make it blend more with my person. This white one actually looks super friggin' awesome with the Vanguard build. And then here we go. We have all the new skins and things like that for your class and whatnot. All looking really, really cool. I like this one right here, this black and white one looking one. It has like a checkerboard type thing. These are really awesome as well. So just clicking through here, there were no clear things saying that blocking, fencing, and balance have changed in any way. But again, from the patch notes, we know that they did change. So just to give you my kind of final thoughts on the patch and how I feel about it so far, I'm about to test out the new mission to see how it is, and I'm gonna also subsequently test out the new melee mechanics and things of that nature. I'm super excited because now we get a reason to actually vary at the playstyle. Maybe this will actually give us some more varieties in combat, and especially melee combat that we were looking for, because melee combat was very much you parry, gun strike, parry, gun strike. That was the whole loop, and now maybe we'll actually be able to stay in melee combat and actually do a lot more damage with the blocking mechanic and the new adrenaline surge ability. So I'm extremely excited for those things, and obviously the cosmetics are absolutely beautiful. They did a great job with that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go play the Obelisk mission off this video, and I'm going to test it out for myself and report back to you guys. And I'm also going to test out the new melee builds and come up with some new builds that are really going to work well, because I'm excited to try Assault more specifically, because I think they're going to benefit the most from all these changes. But anyways, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.